Hello everyone, welcome back Jane Online. Today we will learn about support vector machine. Let's see what is support vector machine. So here is the tutorial that I'm presenting for support vector machine. So it is also called SVM. So SVM is a powerful machine learning algorithm which is used for linear and nonlinear classification, all as well as regression, and even it is also used for to detect the outliers in the data. So let's understand what does that mean. So here, for example, if you see this data, where you can see there is two types of data. One is blue, one is shown with the blue dots, and another is shown with the red dots. So how can we separate these data, this data? That means how can we make our line that can separate the best line, which can separate these two data very well. So as you can see, this line, the vertical line is not the correct one, right? It cannot separate the data. And even for this line, it is not that much good, but still better than the previous one. Now you see this line, this is also not much good, because if you see the distance between this blue dot to this line and the distance between this red dot to this line is much higher comparative to the distance between the blue dot and the line. So the best line would be which can separate the data with the equal distance in both sides. The equal distance means like the distance from the line to the nearest data point on both of the sides. So let's see what is the best line, that how can we define the best line, how SVM defines the best line to separate this data. Here, this is the example of linearly separable data. As you can see, the data is quite separable on the opposite sides, right? So here you have three lines, line 1, line 2, and line 3. So line 1 has less distance on the blue side comparative to the uh, red side, whereas line 2 has the almost equal distance on both sides, right? On blue sides and the red side. And if we see line 3, then it has lesser distance on red side and higher distance on the blue side. So the safest line would be here, line 2, which is separating the data with the equal distance on both of the sides. Now, so here, now you see, if we how so here how the main thing is how can we choose the line. So that depends on the distance, and that depends on these nearest data point, which is called outlier, which is called support vectors. Okay, so this blue dot here is called support vectors, which is supporting this line to separate the data with a maximum margin. Okay, and so if we choose the hyperplane whose distance from it to the nearest data point on each side is maximized, if such a hyperplane exists, it is known as maximum margin hyperplane or hard margin. So here in this example, L2 is the maximum margin hyperplane or hard margin. So from the above figure, We choose L2. Let's consider scenario like shown below. So here we have one blue ball in the boundary of the red ball. So how does SVM classify the data, this data? So here, so the SVM algorithm has the characteristics to ignore the outlier. So in this case, this blue dot is called the outlier, which is rare in this case, and SVM actually ignores this outlier and make a simple classification using this hard margin, using the hard margin, right? The maximum margin hyperplane. So here you see the SVM simply draws a line between these two data and separate the data. So this is how the SVM works. There is a lot more detail after this, but I think for this basic fundamental class, this much information is enough. If you are willing to go through the more detail into what happens for the nonlinear classification, then you can refer to this tutorial, Gigs for Gigs. Thank you.